Greetings, everyone. Tommy Hawksblood here. Today's going to be probably one of the most hardcore shows I ever did. But all you're going to get is the ultimate truth, whether you want it or not. If you don't want it, I guess you don't need to be here. But if you are interested, please listen. Listen to as much as you can before you get overloaded. And send this link to everybody you know. I don't care if I lose the show or not, but I'm putting the truth out there, a lot of it. A lot more than you're ever going to get from any other speaker out there. And the reason why I can say that, I've been involved in the UFO world since I was 6 years old. I was on a spiritual quest all my life. I met just about every important spiritual speaker, or worked with them, lectured with them, or had conversations with them. Never mind religious people, you name it. All right, now we're going to start in different aspects. But one of the things that bothered me so much this morning, Tucker Carlson is supposed to be trying to interview Mr. Putin. All right. Everybody that wrote in there says it's the most incredible thing. It's the greatest thing that could happen. We'll get more information. And they went on and on. Every single person, not one person said, oh, Mr. Putin's a mass killer. Nobody said that he's actually is killing his own army. Nobody's talking about who he really is. And they think they're going to get important information from him by Carlson talking to him. Really? Now, I'm going to throw a couple of things in together real fast. All right. Carlson did a lot of radio shows on UFOs and aliens. Pull them up and watch them. Watch what he did and what he said and all that. Then, let me explain this to you. 4 months before President Trump was elected, Mr. Putin went on Russian TV and said a couple of things that he wanted Trump to do. One of them, he wanted him to release the real information about 9/11. He said it. If you don't release it sometime soon, I will. Second thing he said, I want you to tell the world what you're doing with UFOs and aliens. All right? Then he said, and this is on Russian TV, 3 months before Trump was elected, I want the world to know that we're working with 27 alien races. 2 of them want to destroy the planet. Now, why would he say that? Because they're at war with them, and so is the United States. In the UFO world, you don't hear one person talking about what's going on for real. Oh, there's ships in the sky, and the United States worked with them. Okay, that's obvious. It started in 1942, all right? But that doesn't matter. People, this is the real world. This is about each and every one of us, not what the government's doing, because they got a job. Their job is to protect the rich people, period. They got underground cities for the rich people. That's what they get paid to do. Now, aliens don't get paid by us. We don't have to pay their salaries, but they do come here for a reason, people. Stephen Greer, which is the biggest loser in the UFO world, who goes on and on about talking to aliens and everything else like it's going to help us. He says they're all good. Then he claims he was offered $3 billion by the government to walk away from the program. Why? He's not saying anything important. He never did. When I was lecturing in 1996, he was still in the background. He wasn't out there mainstream. Oh, the government, we need to prove that UFOs are real. At that time, in 1996 to 2002, Sergio 18 and I were lecturing all around the United States with global sciences. We showed pictures of UFOs, aliens, creatures, you name it. We shot, not make-believe pictures, not other people's pictures, not enhanced pictures. We showed them. I did a show years later, in 2000, about 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago, on Kerry Cassidy's show with Sergio for 9 months. Every week we showed new pictures of UFOs and everything else. Nobody cared. Nobody was interested. We did a show in 1996 on TV, Strange Universe. We showed an actual video of a ship stopping, shooting ships out and taking off. We filmed it. All right. The show was on, I don't know what day it was, but the next week it was taken off the air, the show, Strange Universe. At the same time, John Ford was arrested. He was in Long Island. He shot the best video of a UFO crash. People, why is nobody getting him out of jail? Well, out of the nut house. Because he's supposed to go to trial. They won't let him go to trial because he has the video. It's shipped around the world. It's in 4 places. I saw it. It's the best video ever taken of a real UFO on the ground. All right. He sent it around the world to 4 places. It only gets shown when he dies. So they're keeping him alive. They keep him in the nut house. And every year, when he's supposed to go to trial, government comes in and says, "Oh, we have to reevaluate you for another year." It's been going on since 1996. That was the year Phil Snyder got killed. Check that story out, people. The second most important story in the UFO world, and nobody's talking about it. Stephen Greer forgets that. Oh, aliens are good. He forget what happened with the government and what happened in all these other places, people. Do you want to listen to lies and fill your head with bull and stories? Go right ahead. Are you ready to deal with the truth? Realize that the UFO world doesn't talk about why they're here. You can listen to Richard Dolan and people like that. Well, I think this is going to happen. I think this is the way it is. And Stephen Greer putting his 2 cents in everything. All right. But nothing important is going to happen. Whatever the government does with aliens has nothing to do with what aliens are doing with humans, people. Now, on top of that, we got spiritualists, we got religionists, we got people that claim the psychic. Let's talk about them, people, because everybody thinks they're the cure. They're going to help. They're going to solve. Even here in Hawaii, we have the worst disaster that ever hit the United States. I mean, I guess you can compare it to 9/11, but it's probably worse. It's a bigger area. And the problem is no real information is coming out. They're going on and on about, oh, the hotel rooms that they have 500 hotel rooms. Then they said they had 350. They can't even keep the numbers together. All right. Then they said that 115 people are dead. Well, they said, well, 315, 350, 388. They keep changing the number. All right. Then they said there's no exact number of how many people are still missing. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's a video up, a couple other videos up that I saw that show you what's actually going on in that little triangle that was destroyed. Now, most of them are being removed because they're gory, they're scary, they're ridiculously crazy, people. The truth. I'm not talking about lies, make-believe videos. There was a video up online. My partner got it. It was sent all over, of a person welded to the steering wheel in the car. People, that's not fire. That's not fire, people. All right. And I can tell you other people I know, incredible people that actually were in other countries where they were using chemical weapons and directed energy beams and lasers for weapons. You ever see a car blasted in half that the person right split in the middle? They're out there, people, and the government's not going to show one thing that's really going on except burnt up houses now. But the problem is there's 12,500 people that live there. They're only accounting for 6,000 people right now, people. Where's the other number of the other people? People, do you care? Do you understand what's happening? Or are you going to just hide your head in the sand? You don't even know what happened at 9/11 yet. So you're not going to care about what happened in Hawaii. Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, it's a shame. No, it's a disaster. And the only thing that you need to know, who created the problem? United States government or Russia? And they're the only two people you can question yourself who created it. It was created. There's no proof that they can't prove anything that proves that it didn't happen that way. Everything they said happened is a lie, how it started and everything else. You ever watch a electric line hit something on the ground? I watched a house next door to me right here. The box blew up. It was shooting fireworks out for 20 minutes. The fire department was just standing right there. They couldn't do a thing about it. But it didn't do anything else except burn part of the wall on the house. To start fires all over. Oh, the wind was blowing. Oh, you ever see a forest fire with the wind blowing? Everything's burning. There's so many trees that didn't burn. There's so many things that didn't burn other than houses and people and cars. Again, there's so many videos. Do your searching before they're all gone. They'll all be taken off as soon as the government sees them, hears them, or finds somebody else. Mention it. All right. This video could be taken down tomorrow. I could lose the show. But look, people, it's a matter of where you're putting your attention. All right, let's go into a couple things one at a time. Religion. All right, people say, well, I'm religious. What's religious mean, people? Do you have a clue? Because you go to church on Sunday, that means you're religious? You pray on Sunday, that means you're religious? You go to confession, that makes you religious? That takes away your sins that you do? You think the average person that goes out and kills somebody could go to a priest and ask for forgiveness? You might believe so. Read your own Bible, people. Read Revelations. Read it 3 times in a row. You will see where John talks about what sins can't be forgiven. In your Bible, not mine, in your Bible. Now, go into the facts, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All right, why them? Well, because 2 of them were evangelists and 2 of them were Jesus's followers. They were 2 of his direct followers. All right? The other 2 weren't. Read how it's twisted. Now, then we could go into the Old Testament, which is more lies, people. The story of Adam and Eve is so ridiculous. Read it 3 times. I say 3 times because it takes that many times for your mind to understand what's going on. All right, read it. Read what God says. Read what happens. God's a liar in Adam and Eve. You think God's a liar? Really? You think God has to lie to these low-life people? To this life form? Really? Why? People, then again, God wouldn't come into this low reality, which it allows Satan, the darkness, the demon, the dark side, whatever you want to call it, that controls this whole planet and the universe, this reality. God allows it for a reason. Jesus couldn't take Satan out. And Lucifer is not Satan, people. Lucifer's an angel. Oh, he's a fallen angel. Well, so is Michael, Gabriel, and all the other ones that these people claim to be working with. Gabriel supposedly worked with Muhammad and taught him. Really? Read it. Read their books. Read how it was the prophecies that he was given. They contradict each other. Gods, angels, deities don't have to contradict themselves. There's no reason for them to, and they don't. All right? Religions are being written down, transformed, and changed because man's ego decided it wasn't right. It decides to make it fit to what he wants it to fit, meaning what his ego tells him it should be. All right. Laws in the United States were created by man. All right. Now, everybody's prosecuting this, that, and the other thing. Everybody's going after Biden. Everybody's doing this. I said, well, look, this is your country. If you don't like it, leave it. Everybody else in other countries, including Russia, are trying to get into the United States. Why is that? People in other countries, like Mexico even, why are they coming into the United States? And why do the people in the United States keep putting it down? You live in a country that you can't stand? Why? Why don't you change it if you don't like the laws? I've been trying. I've been dealing with people. People don't care. Women are really abused and everything else. I'm putting a book out. It should be out in 1 month for women only. And it's only for women. Men don't need to read it because it goes against men, period. I'm telling you straight out. It's what men are, what men think they are, and what they did to women since the beginning of time. 100,000 years, women were always slaves, people. Love did not exist until Jesus came. Whether you want to accept that or not, that's the facts. All right, compassion existed. Buddha never taught about God. He taught about the bliss state and oneness. And the universal energies out there claim, the people claim to be working with the universe. Big deal. What's that going to do? Where's it going to get you? When you die, you're going to float around as a star? What do you think you're going to become? People have no clue what lies after their death. They're so programmed to believe what they hear about being in heaven and being with their family and all those good things that are supposed to happen when you die. Oh, God loves everybody and protects everybody. God does not protect the human body, people. Not at all. Jesus didn't protect the human body. He protected the people's soul that deserved it. Souls are what you really are. You use this little body for 125 years until it deteriorates, and then you come back and use another one. Because you don't learn anything, you don't learn why you're here. And there's reasons for everything that exists in this reality and all the other realms that God created. Aliens and dimensional beings are not spiritual. I don't care what anybody says. Not one of them ever helped the human race in the past 100,000 years. You want a question?
Yes, I have a question about that now life is set up for 100.
I just speak a little bit louder.
I have a question about that life is now set for 125 years, but before in the Bible it read that it used to be like 900 or 600.
Were you there? You know, they said a lot of things. They said everybody lived. Moses supposedly did. A few people did. All
No,
right.
my question is about, is there a reason that God let them live longer before and then he saw there's no
Well,
problem
you're not listening to what I'm saying.
and
Man
maybe
wrote that. Time was different in those days. First off, who had a calendar for a 900-year calendar for their personal life? Nobody. All right. Sure, you saw a king die. Who wrote all those notes about each one? Show them to the world, where everybody that saw Moses' family die and these people die and those people die. There's no factual evidence on that. Second of all, when Moses walked his people around in circles, they all died. That's how long he walked them around. It was 4 generations. All the men and women he took out died. Those children that he brought went into the promised land, what he called the promised land. And when they got there, they killed people. So it's a ridiculous lie. Everything. Moses was a mass magician killer. He killed all these people when he came off the mountain, called them demons and killed them. The same thing Christians, Spanish, and the English did to the native people when they came to the United States. They called them demons and killed them. Time is not relevant really anymore. All these top millionaires and billionaires are trying to create medicine to make us live another 100 years, 50 years. But it doesn't matter. They could live here as long as they want. But they didn't learn anything. And that's a problem. If you live 10,000 lifetimes and don't learn anything, guess what? You come back and reincarnate over and over. And that's what these souls are doing. No matter how long they stayed here, they didn't even learn why they were here. I mean, in the Bible, it says Moses was never allowed into the promised land. Why? Well, he got mad. He broke the tablets. No, he killed people. Killing is one of the 10 commandments that he created. And he went against it. So how could you constantly feel that you're spiritual or you're moving in the right direction? Moses never did. All right. And in those days, it was so different. He created laws on what you could eat. He had, what was the number? 680 laws. I don't know I forgot the exact number. 652, something like that, of laws that people had to live by. Nobody on this planet could live by them. If you stole, you got your hand cut off. If you saw something bad, you got your eyes plucked out. All these things on top of you couldn't eat this, you couldn't eat that, you couldn't see your child naked, you couldn't see your daughter naked, and all these things are outcast. Read his laws. They're ridiculous. Right? And people think he was so spiritual and so important. Nothing he did showed anything about a real God. Now, when we come to Christianity, Jesus was the only soul on this planet to show and teach about a singular real God. Nobody else did. Deities talked about themselves as being gods. All right. And they worked with the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Aztecs. The Hindu people were working with the deities before anybody else was. But it was all sexual in those days. Nothing about a real God. Ego is the biggest power play in anybody's spiritual growth until they unfold beyond it. And the only way that happens is when you let go of the mind, body, and the idea of coming back here. When you let go of the attachment to this reality, you can move forward and touch the spark that you are as soul and realize it has nothing to do with your body. And all these Christians, that 2.5 billion people believe Jesus Christ was the Savior. Of what? He never said he was God, people. Never. I don't know if you people believe in reincarnation. Most of you Christians do not. Other religions do. Buddha taught about reincarnation. All right. Jesus was the only one that was teaching about a real God. All right. At that time frame, they didn't know what a God was. And for Jesus to try to explain that was so hard and impossible. They had very limited words. So what did they understand about God? Very little. And as the change of commands from the Pope, Peter the Pope, down all through the ages, everything was changed. The Pope right now said there's no such thing as hell. We are living in it. He said there's no such thing as Adam and Eve. It's a fake story. And he wants to rewrite the 10 Commandments. That's the present Pope today. And the popes under him, not the popes, his whatever they call clergy under him, said that they will teach the aliens Christianity. Oh, they're coming here to learn Christianity. I guarantee you that. Really? People, you listen and listen to these people. All right, that's religion. Let's go to the word spiritual. All right, what does spiritual mean, people? I always ask everybody, write it down. Tell themselves what they think it means. And if you don't have the word God anywhere in that, it's not what it means, period. Nothing about you and who you are, what you do. That doesn't make you spiritual. I mean, people that work with aliens, well, they healed me, or they did this, they saved my life. So, it's in this reality to keep you here. Satan's here to keep us here, not to help us unfold. All right, whatever you think you're worshiping, did you ever try challenging it? Or ever really meet it? Reading words doesn't teach you anything. Without experiencing it, those words are just words. If you never saw an alien, reading everybody's book on aliens doesn't explain or prove to you anything about an alien. If you don't get abducted, you don't know what aliens are really doing. On top of that, oh, well, the angels are coming down. Angels were never teachers in all of history. They gave messages to people that were supposed to listen to them, like Noah, like Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. Other people, guess what? Don't know what they're doing, don't know what they're talking about, and don't understand whatever teachings they're getting, and they try to translate it into their ego. Now, on the spiritual side, soul is not the body. When the body dies, soul steps out of it. I listen to every person that writes what happened to them when they leave their body. I had 5 death experiences. I know what happens when you leave your body. All right? Now, these people write, oh, they went and saw their mother. They saw Jesus. They saw God, and they were told to come back. 99.5% of the people say the exact same thing. Because the mind cannot perceive what's happening. You're not in a body. You're in a different dimension. You're in a different reality. Oh, and here's my mom, and she's telling me I can't stay there. Really? It's programmed thoughts. If you want to read a book that's really interesting for UFO people, Barbara Messiniak, Bringers of the Dawn. She explains when a soul goes through the astral plane, they could absorb them, which should be read and understood. Without any protection, demons can attack you. Without any protection, you could be possessed. All those words are real, whether you want to believe that or not. So if you don't have any spiritual foundation, not ego problems, you're not protected. When children say, oh, there's a demon in my closet, oh, that's your imagination. No, demons are attacking children constantly, and so are aliens. More children get abducted by aliens than probably any adults do. I worked with that when I was young, all right? And I was just doing it. I never got paid. I wasn't asking for money. I just did it. When I heard a child was this, and then what happened 25 years into my life, they came out with star children and indigo children. Oh, they're special children. They never mentioned the important children, which were the blue star children, all right? I was able to sense them. And if I could touch them, they were enlightened. They became aware. If they weren't, their parents were usually not able to do that because they were unaware beings bringing a light child into the world. I went through that for years. But guess what? The government knew that too. For almost 20 years, the government was abducting every blue-eyed, blonde-haired child because that's what they thought the blue star children were. No, they had brown eyes, they had brown hair. But see, the government is not dumb, they're not ignorant, and they do everything for a reason. All right, I could put a link up. I might put it up, not today, of a woman who explains, I'm not saying she's 100% right because she isn't, but she explains the chain of events from the 1800s when the Russians were on Mars creating drones. All right, and they created all these other races, and then they get involved with fighting 2 other races. It's a big, long story, but it's partially true. The Anunnaki, which these people claim are so spiritual and everything else, were not. They didn't create us. No alien race created the human race. They programmed us to be killers, abusers, do sacrifice, all the things that are negative, that bring darkness into this world. All right. Now, people, if you have questions, maybe you're afraid to come on my show, email me, text me. I don't care. Send me a message. I'll answer it. But I will give you the truth, not like these UFO people. I will be bringing a guest on. I don't know how soon. I'm not going to say his name until it's definite. He's one of the top speakers in the UFO world right now. And I mean that because he's recognized as that. I mean, all the people on Ancient Aliens never even saw an alien, never were next to a ship. So they're not super spiritual speakers on, quote, alien abduction, aliens, or anything else. So, and you don't need to hear what people think. That's not going to save you in this life or the next. What everybody tells you is not true. And the only way you'll ever find that is if you dig into yourself and look for it. But you need guidelines, you need clues and ways to do it. Doing plain meditation will never get you there. Buddha said block everything out. You can't block everything out and then you stay nowhere. And that oneness, oh, nothingness. It's nothing. If it's nothingness, it's nothing. Something is something. I'd rather be something than nothing. All right. Being aware means you are aware of soul. Nothing means you're aware of being an entity, sound, and vibration, but nothing other than being a direct person of yourself or what you truly are. People, I'm doing this show because I'm so frustrated with what's going on in the world today. What's going on with people, what they believe, what they think, what they care about. Nobody cares about God. Nobody speaks about God. Oh, God protects us. No, not in a church that says God watches over us. God protects us. God forgives our sins. No. The biggest lie you were ever told and programmed to believe. You don't think God has to forgive you. It doesn't. You just stay in hell. And that's why he created it. This is here for a reason. God doesn't make mistakes, people. Well, children get hurt. Yeah, why? Their karma makes it happen. Everything that happens to you is your karma. Well, the whole planet blew up because we're in hell and it's time to recreate a new planet. That's what will happen very soon. All right. The new UN Agenda 21-30 is at stage 5, meaning population depletion, one world order, controlled by AI. All right. And that's supposed to happen within 7 years, people. And we're getting closer every day. Putin came out and said he released a 2,000-page letters saying that the United States created the virus to take over the world. Well, I'm not going to debate that. But Putin's not a good person. Putin's killing people. So to think he's more important than where we're living, well, we have underground cities all across the United States, and so do other countries. We have tunnels that go to other countries, people. You don't have to believe it, but they do. We can go to Mars and back, people. I can name 2 ships that can do it. Fred Bell, who actually worked on one of them directly, was on Jesse Ventura's show, and the day after he did the show, he was killed. So, he died. But again, people, do you want truth? Or you want to sit and roast in the lies and the fairy tales of all these people, feeding your ego, feeding your feelings and emotions? If you love it and it feels good, I can tell you it's not good. The mind has 5 senses, and those senses have nothing to do with God. Smell, taste, sight, touch. All right. Motions are just how this body works. It has nothing to do with the soul inside it. When soul steps outside of the body, it's not connected to them. That stays within the mind. And your consciousness. No, you're not. You're a soul being, aware being. But when you step back in the body, you lose that awareness as well, people. Are you ready to deal with any truth? Probably not. You'd rather sit back, listen to the stories, believe all the lies, watch TV, put Ancient Aliens back on, listen to that. There's a show on Bigfoot right now. It's on every Wednesday. Watch it. They will show you a Bigfoot. They have been showing you glimpses. They will show you a real Bigfoot in detail very soon. I promise you that. Skinwalker Ranch. All right. That may be taken off the air. And they said, well, we can't say anything. They're on top of a UFO. If they pull that UFO out, do you really think the government's going to let them show that on public TV? All right. When Bigelow sold that ranch, he was afraid of what was there. There was everything there. I can tell you another ranch that I stayed on for a little while, who I brought this person out. John Edmonds. He was killed 2 Christmases ago. He said he killed 18 grays. All right. He was dealing with entities, demons, and I went out there with a medicine woman, and we had to heal his wife. We tried to eliminate the creatures on his property, but he didn't want to. He wanted to open up an alien property where people can come and see aliens and all that. But guess what? He was killed. All right, but he did kill. He did kill 2 Greys. I'm not going to say he killed 15. I don't know if you know the story of Evie, a real story, people. All right, Evie was the alien that controlled all the aliens that were here, all the Greys. They eventually had to kill him. Watch the alien interrogation on the internet. It's real. Listen to what he says about the end of the world. People, do you want to hear the truth? Oh, well, that's fake. Oh, when anybody doesn't like something, it's either fake, not real, whatever words they can put against it to make it sound like it's not real. Everything you hear, oh, well, that's not real. You hear medicines, they could put a medicine on TV and say, well, if you take this, it'll help you with your pain in your head. But if it give you a heart attack, it give you a stroke, it could make you have a blood clot, it could cause 10 other 10, 20, 30 things other than what the problem you're taking the pill for does. And that's okay. You try to take a plant and name it as a thing that can cure something, it can't be legally done. You'll go to jail. You can't claim a plant as a healer. And if you do, you're taking over the medical world, which they won't allow you to do, and they put you in jail. And they won't name any fruits and herbs and plants as a healer because it can't cost, it's too cheap. If you could go out and buy a tomato and it would heal something, you think they'd want that to happen? You think if everybody could go out and buy a couple plants and it would heal them, they wouldn't have to buy all these medicines and go for all these operations? I just found out yesterday, somebody sent me a link, watch this. Check out every label of everything you eat in a can or a box or whatever. Biogenetically coded food is in your food already. I can show you a package. Everybody, see this box right here? My favorite cookie. I eat them every day. Right here, bioengineered. All right, if you can see that. Check your box, check your labels. Cookies, everything, dog food, check everything, what's in it. Now, I don't want to get into that, but you're being lied for a reason. You're being programmed to be what you are. You're being fed poisons for a reason. Everything has a reason, people. Aliens are in back of it. And we got Stephen Greer coming out. Oh, aliens are all good. Aliens, we need to talk to them. Oh, well, why not talk to God? Not that you can, but talk to something a little more spiritual than an alien. Oh, their diet is humans, people. Do you know that? Oh, well, all aliens don't eat humans because all aliens can't work here. The 9 races that are here do control this planet. Not that the government knows how to take down their ships and everything else right now. And that's what's happening. We had 3 major wars in space. All right. And during that time, Russia and the United States, I don't know how much they actually work together, but we have been fighting races in space. I saw it happen in Hawaii over us. All right. It's real. But do you hear the UFO people talking about that? No. The government doesn't want everybody talking about the truth. Most of the people that talk about the truth are taken out really fast, like Phil Schneider. All right. I can name all the other people I know, but I'm not going to. All right. 15 of my best friends are gone. One of them is her whole family. 2 of them are in jail for framed for murder. One's in a nut house, claims he's crazy. But what they framed him for, he had a barrel of uranium and he was going to kill people in Congress. The most ridiculous idea to even accept it as real was accepted. The same as people accept how 9/11 went down. All right, all these top nuclear physicists, scientists, and everybody else claims this, that, and the other thing. Not one of them have a clue what really happened. The word directed energy beam wasn't real at that time. They didn't even know what it was. I mean, even Coast to Coast showed a video of a ship going through it. All right, a UFO going right through the building as it was exploding. That disappeared in a rather short time as well. People, there's so many things going on, and people really don't care. All I can tell you is it's not a matter of what you can stop or listen to. It's a matter of where you can put yourself in your own spiritual truth. You're going to die, whether it's by the government, food, or just natural. You're going to die soon. 125 years is not a long time. Do you have a clue where you're really going to go? You're not going to be sitting in heaven with your family at a table talking about all the good times. You reincarnated so many lifetimes. You had so many different families, people. Do you understand that? Not one family, not two families, hundreds of families, hundreds of children. Do you care about any of them? Oh no, I only care about. Well, what if you had 3 wives in this lifetime and 2 of them died and you're with one? When you go to heaven, who do you want to be with? Which one of them? Oh, we'll all be happy. No, you won't. If that was the case, it wouldn't be. Nobody'd be happy about it. There's a show on TV. This guy has had 4 wives, and they're all fighting and everything else. But again, it's not legal in the United States. Other countries, it's legal. All right, children are forced to get married at 12 and 14. Some of them have 3 husbands. It gets crazy when you go to other countries. I'm only dealing with what I know directly. I know a lot about Muslims and how bad the things are within that. The Hindu, the Hasidic Jewish people, what goes on in that. I worked in a temple for almost a year. The things they do, it's always against women. People, women, do you understand that even? If you're a woman listening to this, buy my book. It's not going to be expensive. I'm going to try and make it as cheap as I can. It'll be an ebook. After a while, I'll make it free for anybody anyway. But I will say, whoever reads it, send it, give it to somebody else right away when you're done with it. Women need to read it. The laws in the United States are against women at every level, people. And women, you don't change it. Well, after Bill Cosby got arrested finally for raping one woman, after 50 women came out and said he raped them all, they said that he raped them. They said it. He got convicted. He was out in a short period of time. Well, those women, 12 women, went around the country trying to change the laws. They changed the laws in 12 countries, 12 states, where a woman that gets raped can actually go and file charges against them, no matter how long it takes for them to realize that they were actually attacked. 10, 15 years. I mean, it was 2 years originally, then it went to, but now it's as long as it takes them to remember. I'm not going to go into that. My book will be out soon, and it's for women, men, because men don't care. Men will brag about what they do. Women don't. So let's go to psychics, people. Oh, everybody's a psychic. Well, one of the people that I got involved with, because she's a UFO person, Carol Corey, she put out 3 movies. She makes it look good that drones are here and we're cloning and all these words and walk-ins and all that are good. It's not. When you water anything down like they did to the native people, it takes away from what and who they are. Period. The native nation's been dwindled to nothing. All right? When you water down water, I mean milk, soda, put water in it. Put another glass of water in it. What's it taste like? Nothing. When you take away a spiritual foundation of a religion and a spiritual path, or a semi-spiritual path, or just a path, it becomes diluted with man's ego. And it's always man's ego, people. In the UFO world, I could go on about every speaker out there right now, except the one I want to bring on my show, because they feed you with, oh, well, the government. Yeah, the government's working with aliens. So what? What are you going to do about it? Stop it? They're building ships. You're going to stop that too? The ship we're going to release by the end of this coming year is $40 billion to build it. It'll be the most coolest looking ship ever, but it'll be the most deadliest weapon on the planet. It's done. All right. Usually they don't release anything for 25 years. Check out the story of the Aurora and the Delphi. 2 ships capable of going to Mars. That has been covered up. Oh, well, that's make believe. Oh, that's it. No, Fred Bell worked on it, and he's dead now. All right? People, the truth is there if you dig and listen and search for it. But if you believe the storytellers in the UFO world, oh, everything's good. The good aliens are going to come save us. From what? Our own ego? Our own destruction? Tesla worked with an alien race, people. I don't care what you believe or were told. I know it for a fact. I saw his personal notes. He worked in New Jersey up in Wanacue. Not Wanacue, sorry. Oh, wait, no, I was right. Wanaka, New Jersey. Tesla was working with DuPont in an underground base. The most important UFO story happened there in the world. The most important UFO story that happened in the world happened right there. And nobody talks about it. I won't talk about it. I want to get killed right this second. But I will do it one day in detail, because all the books, there was 3 books written about it, were half baloney, half stories, and a little bit of the truth. I know if you heard about the Montauk Project, that was real. That was after the Philadelphia experiment. But what became after that was even worse. All right? People, I don't do this show for money. I don't do it for fame. I don't do it for followers. Because I don't want people following me if they don't want the truth. Because people don't. They get this much truth and they're tell a person the truth on the street. Oh, that's enough. That's enough. I had enough. No, don't tell me anymore. They panic and they freeze and they go crazy. I mean, it's hard for me knowing everything that's going on, and these people are so ignorant to it. All right. I am open to debate any spiritual, religious UFO speaker, online, live, offline. But not one of them has the balls, except the person I want to bring on my show. Years ago, I used to bring people on that I thought were big UFO people and this, that, and the other thing. I brought a big person on. And after I brought him on the show, he started lying. I brought another person on, and he couldn't talk about what happened. These people, you do something, be responsible. Jesus said, give your life to God, you'll have eternal life. If you believe the truth, put it out there. Die in your truth, not somebody else's. It won't help you get into heaven. It sure will not. You'll be coming back here dealing with it. Oh, yeah, the world will be futuristic, but it's going to be controlled. AI is what's going to happen to this universe. It already is. It was brought here for a reason. They're finding out right now that it's a real entity. I just was given more information that blows my mind about Vegas. I won't put it up today. It's crazy in front of their eyes, in front of people, and they still don't understand or even want to. All right, giant orb sitting over the city. Let's drive through it. Oh, wow, that was cool, but I don't feel right now. And that's okay. No, it's not. The HARP system is the most deadliest weapon on the planet. CERN is the most evil weapon on the planet. Do you know what they are? Ask everybody in Congress what either one of them means. I guarantee not one of them will give you an answer. And they're the people controlling us, people. We're controlled by people that are 70 years old that don't even know what fracking is. Oh, what's geothermal? Oh, I guess they do something in the earth. Really? They don't even know what. They don't even know what's happening to the earth. Al Gore was paid to bring the word global warming out. Trump doesn't believe it. When he was told to show what could happen, he showed what could happen, but he never showed how it happens. All right? They could never admit, and they can't do it today. Not one person on the internet or the Congress or anything else comes out and tells you what's causing global warming, other than the fires. Yes, fires cause global warming. But check out the fires and what's happening to fires. What's going on with them? Something incredibly dangerous, people. Are you listening? Or you probably left the show already. That's fine. But if you're still here, if you come in and listen, come back again, that's fine. When you get a little more courage to deal with a little more truth, come back. All right. I only put the truth out. Go ahead, Gregor.
Who was here and left? Is there more people or just sitting and writing?
Well, I have lots of people come and see. They don't go into the chat room. They're afraid to.
Oh, wow.
And they stay in the background, watch the show, and then leave. I can see that. But again, all right, when I say go into the chat room and ask questions, when you were in school and the teacher said, who's got questions? How many people raised their hand? Everybody? No. And it's the same way. Oh, they might ask me a question. They might ask me something back. Oh, really? I'm not afraid to talk about what I know. I can't talk about cars. Wait. I can't talk about cars, the inside, how they work or anything. Can't talk about football, baseball, football, hockey. I don't watch any of them, never did. I
What
could
was
talk about death. I could talk about reincarnation. I could talk about those words because I experienced it. I could talk about aliens. I could talk about UFOs and what they look like, what they feel like, all those kind of things. All right? But I can't talk about things I don't know, and I don't.
Do you know anything more about the second experiment after Philadelphia experiment, the second one? What happened there?
It became the Montauk Project. And the
What?
Montauk Project was they created this chair, and they put people in it, and they would send them wherever they wanted to send them, and things like that. 3 people I know were put in that chair, so I know a lot more about it than most people do.
So,
But the person I said that I knew died. He wanted to somebody's in the chat room. They wrote a message. Thank you for that. The Silver City's only on the here's the thing. There's 5 planes to reach the soul plane, where soul dwells when it reaches pure awareness and becomes God realized. All right. It's pure light and sound, but it's you. It's not just a vibration. But the worlds below that, the Silver City is the third world. It's incredible. It's beautiful. And I tell people, I don't brag about it or promote it, because people that can't get into the astral plane sure don't need to know about the world after it, because you just can't jump from the one to the next. There's so much a soul has to learn before it can move forward. There's gods, I call them little gods, deities that control each level. The astral plane has 3. All the ones after that only have 1. And the astral plane has 3 because there's so many souls going in and out of there all the time. And they can't go into the higher worlds, or they would destroy it. When God cast out the angels that were in the higher worlds, they started fighting. And says, no, it ain't going to happen. And they were all cast down to the astral plane. All right. So when we talk about the silver world, when you talk about the native teachings going to the green pastures, it's a limited place. When you deal with a body, if you're still looking at yourself as a body, it's limited. If you're still dealing with people that are in body forms, you're no longer male or female. That's the first thing you have to realize or know. And you know you're out of the astral plane. The astral plane, you say stay male or female. You pick your age and all those kind of things, but you're a male or you're a female. Not saying when you reincarnate, you stay the same. You don't. And I'll tell you, many of the people that are upset about their gender and genitalia is because they're aware of their past lives being the opposite sex. All right, I was a female in 2 lifetimes. Well, I can go on about what he said in his video, but I'm not. I don't feel like attacking him right now. I wrote him a bunch of letters. He took them right off because he knows I know the truth. I always did. When we met, he was afraid. I walked into his pentagram and goes, oh, you're going to die. All these things. I saved him. He was being possessed by an entity. I exorcised the being that was on his back, reaching his body, killing him. He never gave me credit for that either. Then when we had a fight, there's a picture up of me looking at myself back. And he goes, well, that's the dark side, the demon within him, and blah, blah, blah. We made friends years later, and he took that away. But I still have the picture. I can't show it because he copyrighted everything we did. And he threatened to take me to court if I show any of it. So I can't show it publicly ever. If he dies, maybe his girlfriend, wife, I'm not sure, might not want to sue me. But again, he said he was going to give me everything because he thought he was dying a couple years ago. He said, I'll give you all the pictures. And then suddenly we did a show for 9 months on Kerry Cassidy's show. At the end of it, we had a fight over a particular person, Sean David Morton, who's hanging in there. He's dying, but he's hanging in there right now. But the government had him in jail for a couple of years. They tortured him, did everything they could to him, tried blinding him. They were pulling his teeth out. They did everything you could do to a person. But he's still alive and trying. And he wrote more books. Read his books. Start with his first book, all right? Sands of Time. It's more facts in that book than any other UFO book you're going to read. And I'm telling you that's a fact. All right, getting back to this. We're in trouble, people. People don't want the truth. They'd rather listen to these people because they're on TV. I did TV a couple times when I was young. All right. I did a show on TV and things like that. I went to court against the phone company, and they brought the show I did on TV. I said, "Oh, you said you were heard on a UFO." I said, "I never said that." Because the company didn't want to pay for me getting hurt. So they said I was heard on a UFO. They really thought I'd say I was, which was ridiculous because I wasn't. But again, I dealt with every aspect. I dealt with one of the. Now, I'm not bragging about this. I'm just telling you the facts. I dealt with the most hardcore people on this planet. Not because they say they're big and famous, not like the president, somebody that had powers beyond anybody else that walked on this planet at that time. And still, if he was alive, but he was killed. That's when I almost died, and everything else happened during that time frame. But he could pull a ship down. He did many things for me. He pulled the black rose out of the air right in front of me. I was a magician for 25 years. I know what magic is. And when he did it, there was no camera tricks and mirrors or none of that. Again, he brought me on the roof. He said, "You want to go on the ship right now?" Pull the ship above us and everything. And all. I'm not going to go into all that. But I saw him walk into a mob of 125 people. He told me not to get out of the car no matter what happens. He walked straight into it. And it looked like an ant colony spreading out while there was all these bodies laying on the ground. All right. We used to walk the streets in New York City, and people would just move. They would spread away from us as we walked down the streets. But there was a serious problem. I could have wrote a book on that alone, which I never did, because it's such a black, horrible dimension. But someday I might talk about it, but not right now. All right, people. Look, I'm not going to go long. I wanted to put this out there for people that want the truth. Listen to my show. Get questions that you need the answers to, that I can give you. Not stories, not fantasies, well, it's not real. And everything you could possibly imagine is real. Mermaids, what do you call it? Unicorns, Pegasus, they're all real. Unicorns used to live on this planet for real. I mean, the stories later on with these high priestesses and stuff that work with the unicorn's horn and everything, they were using rhinos' tusks and things, so it wasn't a unicorn's horn. But I mean, the claims and stuff were there, but it was always out of place stories, exaggerated. I'm aware of my lifetimes, back to Atlantis. So I'm aware of what went down. People, there were 9 races here. There's only 4 races here now. Where did they all go? They enfolded and moved to the higher realms. If you knew this was hell, you'd want to get out of it. But if somebody told you were sitting in heaven, you wouldn't want to leave. So mankind is programmed to believe they're in some place important here, and that's what Satan's purpose is to do. But his purpose is also to help you unfold, to let go of all the attachments you have, sports, things like that, cheap thrills, drugs, medicine, and all these things that we hang on for fun and thinking it's important. It's important for the moment, but that moment is nothing in an eternal lifetime. You can have multiple lifetimes, and those seconds don't matter. Oh, I watched a football game. Oh, and you won today. Really? So what? Does it change anything? Except take more money from children and families that are trying to survive and have to pay big money to go see people fight or wrestle or anything on a football field, baseball field. Really? A boxing match? We live like cavemen today. I guess 2 years ago when those 2 people fought, one was Spanish and whatever, they both got paid $150 million to beat each other up. And who's getting paid for it? People did. Why? Because we still have the same mentality we did all through history. The gladiators and all that existed for a long time. One ruler decided to stop it for maybe 60 years. But outside of that time frame, it went back and it was always there. People love to see people killing each other. It's a sad thing, but it's because they're not aware of what happens or what's going on. I mean, I could tell you a quick story. When I told my cousin about he's no longer here, but when I told him about reincarnation, and this is the ignorance of people, and this is my own cousin. You mean if I rape 100 women in this lifetime, I could come back and do it again? Did you hear that? The mentality of the human race. All right? If you're attached to something, you can come back and get back into it. But you're not going to get nowhere. You're not going to learn anything, and you're not going to become anything spiritual. And all these people claiming to be spiritual. I'm not going to let you go yet. I want to bring up psychics. I meant the word. I said the word. Psychics are psychic vampires. All right. In the Bible, in Revelations, John says Jesus talked about all the walking dead, all the false prophets, which are here. All right. A psychic, when they go to work on somebody, they already got permission from that person to use their energy. Or they wouldn't be calling a psychic to come and heal them. So when they walk in the door and, oh, I'm going to heal you, you're giving your energy over for him to throw back at you to heal you. Jesus, when he healed people, he said you healed yourself by your own faith. He didn't claim anything. Never. He never claimed to be God. He didn't claim what he did. And all these psychics, Carol Corey said she can levitate a piece of paper. I said, come on my show, debate me. She claims she can change DNA. Well, that's not hard to do. I stayed with a medicine woman for 26 years. And she did it many years ago. I do a healing prayer over my food, which heals it, changes the DNA. And she went to a doctor named Kruger, and they did scientific research proving that the DNA's changed. Caroline Corey goes, the DNA's changed, and she had all these machines checking it out. Oh, the DNA's changed. That's nothing. Or I can levitate a piece of paper. Well, we can go into that, but I'm not. If you can levitate a piece of paper, you can levitate a car. You can levitate a car, you can levitate a mountain. But again, people want to claim psychic abilities. Well, I can heal people. Really? By whose name? Your own or God's? And if you claim God's name, do you really know God? To use his ability? Its ability? Really? God doesn't have to heal people here. They create or remove their own karma. God doesn't do it. And Jesus isn't here to do that either, people. Jesus is not coming back. I don't care what religious person, what religious group says he will. He will not. His own disciples turned against him and had him killed. You think he'd want to come back to that? Why? To deal with ignorance? What do you think he's going to find here? Christians, 2.5 billion people, don't even know what he was teaching. People, Christianity has grown incredibly around the planet, and they all follow Jesus was God. Jesus never said that, never wanted to be God. And even he doubted what he was when he was on a cross dying. And he did die. He didn't taken off the cross alive and brought somewhere else. And it was Thomas that went to India, not Jesus. People, if you want truth, you want to live in fairy tales. Men write stories. I do. But read any of my books. I put my hardcore soul in it. I'm responsible to God only to what I do and say. All right? Want to see my shirt? I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. I don't know if you could read it or not. Basically, it says, I'd rather stand with God and be judged by the world than stand with the world and be judged by God. All right, people, you can do what you want, and you will. But it's going to take something for you to wake up and decide that it's time for you to move forward. Playing sports, buying cars, playing on boats, playing anything. How long is that going to go on? How many times would you want to do that over and over? Even having sex. How many times a day do you want to do it? 100 times a day for the rest of your life? Are you? Of course not. Why? It becomes boring, for a word. Why do you think so many men cheat on their wives? Why do you think their wives cheat on their men? Men don't even care how the woman feels after, which happens in most relationships. It's sad, people. Men are egotistical entities that do not care about anything except their ego. Look at Musk. Look at Gates. Look at Bazio. I don't want to go into Hawaii. It's just too sad right now. And I don't think anybody wants the truth about it right now. It's more like let's pray for the people that are dead and the people that are not around. But there's a lot that aren't reported yet and will never be. All right. There's no document showing you how many children were actually there and how many aren't there. All right. Uh, Hawaii, people live in the jungle. People live off of power. They don't live with power or anything. So there's no records of anything they do. I mean, they grow plants, eat, and live. Those people aren't documented anywhere. And we have the highest homeless people in the United States, people. We have the highest drug addicts in the United States as well, for the amount of people that live here. So is it a place of paradise? Depends what you call paradise. We have the skin-eating virus. We have fire ants everywhere. I mean, you want to go on and on about it? We have the rat lung disease, which can kill you in a month. It's spread if you eat lettuce that was crawled over by a snail. It's beautiful in a lot of ways, but it's also just as bad as any other place on the planet. So you rather believe, oh, it's beautiful. Anywhere can seem beautiful if you stay there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Move somewhere. I live in the ghettos. Crime is so bad here. I walk around the streets with weapons all over me. All right, I'm ready to take on the army if I have to, but it's a war zone. I can go on and on about that. Who takes care of who? Why is the police not doing this? I'm finding out in Jersey, New York, what's happening. They're removing half of the police in Jersey. New York City's putting robots out on the street. Are you keeping up with the times, people? What's going down? What's forming around you in the United States alone? Putin's taking down all the 5G towers. Why? Because it's a deadly weapon. And he knows they could attack his people with it. People, do you understand? And these people want to this idiot wants to interview Putin like it's going to be the most important story of the century. No, it's not. Listen to a person talk about how he kills people? Really? Is that going to be important? Is he going to talk about why he's removing the 5G from his country? And what he knows about it? What really went down in the beginning of Russia's history? People, you live in dreamland. You want something exciting to happen. Watch the dopey shows on TV. You'll see exciting things happen. And they're real, like 90 Day Romance or things like that. It's ridiculous what's going on. People don't care about people because of ego. Ego is stopping mankind from moving forward. If mankind didn't have ego, the world would be at peace. We'd be working together as one person. Not 10 billion, 8 billion. We would care about each other, which we don't. Oh, I care about my child. Do you care about the child down the block that's starving to death? Of course not. You think rich people want poor people living next to them? Wake up, people. The underground cities. Do you think you're going to go to it? You think you're going to have permission to go into the underground cities when a disaster hits us? It's created for a reason. Do you understand the reasons why you're here? No. And that should be the first important thing. My guest here is not saying much, which is fine. He knows a lot. And he's important to himself, which is what you need to be. Because if you don't care about yourself, you're not going to care about anybody else. If you can't be spiritual, how can you show anybody else to be spiritual? If you can't become what you say you are, how are you going to teach somebody else to become that? Stephen Greer says, well, we'll talk to aliens. Let's meet and talk to aliens. Oh, see the lights above us? They're a sick race, people. The good races, if they are, which I say they are not, can't do anything. If you're a spiritual being, you can't kill people. You cannot kill people. So if the Andromedans and races like that, they can't get involved with the reptilians, the Greys, the Nordics, the Mantis. They can't because they can't kill them. They got the weapons. They keep creating weapons. They keep feeding us weapons. Why? You see, anything as coming out of love or compassion that Tesla gave to the world, free energy. No, it's not. Electric cars is not an answer for anything. People are being programmed. When I first learned about chemtrails, it's a program that people don't want to know what's happening with it. It's real. and they spray Hawaii a real lot. We have an army base here. We have an army base on Maui. We're the first center of defense for the United States, people. And funny, a whole town on Maui disappeared. Go up to the observatory. Go up to the observatory here. There's so many things going on, people, which I'm not going to get into. I'd be walking out my door and shot the next day. But the truth is there, people, if you want to find it. And you should. You're not going to get it listening to Stephen Greer. You're not going to get it to the whistleblowers coming out 25, 30 years later. Oh, well, I saw a UFO. Well, why don't you say it when you saw it? Our mentality would have changed back then. It didn't take us 50 years to become aware that UFOs were here. I knew it in 1958. 1958, I saw my first ship. When I was 12, I saw my first alien. I was next to a Bigfoot 24 years ago. It's real. I was doing ghost busting when I was 16. That's real. I was doing exorcisms when I was 20. That's real. Oh, but now let's focus on aliens. Well, who are aliens? What race? What do you think they're here for? Nobody wants to talk about the truth because very few people have a clue. I do a show every Tuesday. Tune in if you want to know what abduction really is. Now, in the UFO world, they created a new word, experiences. It just means like Corey Good and what he said and what he's programmed with. Or they showed me the past, present, and future. Well, if they can put a video in your brain and show you the past, present, and future, guess what? You're controlled. All right? The HARP system can do the same thing. All right? When it was created by Tesla, it was the most deadliest weapon created. I know you know that he was working on a doomsday weapon when he disappeared for a while. He ended up in New York City in a hotel room. Poor, crazy, alone for 10 years. Oh, he was a clone. People come up with great stories after something happens or to make it better. Well, find out how 9/11 really happened. What happened to all those people in there? I can go into the truth behind what I know. Not what scientists, we can't do this, we can't do that. It's a whole story, but it has nothing to do with where I want to go right now. But if you want the truth and ask questions, I will answer them. Well, when you have an experience in a past life, you need to prove it to yourself that it was real first off. And there's many ways. Remember it. The idea is to remember a lot, which most people don't. What kind of signs did you see? What kind of papers did you read? What were they eating? Where were you? And then trace the artifacts going back to the time frame and things like that. You can prove it to yourself. You don't need to prove it to the world, and you shouldn't worry about that. All right? So it's complicated. It takes a while. It took me half of my life to learn all my past lives. But to prove them and understand that they're real is really important. Because to learn the same thing over and over and over and over again is useless. Killing's never going to be official to anybody. So if you're killing people today, that means all your lifetimes were wasted. All right? People, I don't want to go too much longer. I know people can't retain an hour in their mind. But people, my email is Hawksblood1. You see my name over there, AOL.com. Send me emails if you have know a person in the UFO world or spiritual realm. I sent letters to Deepak Chopra, Ekatoli, the Dalai Lama, and the Pope all the time. The person that wrote Saved by the Light, Daniel Brinkley. I went head to head with him in front of 13 people. Conversation with God. A great storyteller making tons of money. And he doesn't say anything important. When you tell people, oh, it's love, it's beautiful, that's all they want to hear. They don't care if it's real or not. In their mind, they'll say it's real. We are living in the world of delusion. Even though it's real, we put ourselves in the fact that it's all real, the good stuff. But they don't want to look at the bad stuff. There's nothing good happening. Every day you're dying. Even Buddha said every day, every minute, think of dying in a minute. Because
It's
every minute you're getting closer to death. Go ahead. What were you
it's just
saying?
strange that so many books and people spreading words like positivity and love and everything, and they're completely blind to all the horrors that are happening just now in the whole world.
Oh, they don't want to talk about it. Oh, I don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear what's really happening. You want to the words I use is live in la la land. All right, and stay there. Look at the beautiful flowers, pick them and smell them, and live there. You're going to understand God that way? Of course not. You're going to understand where you are? Of course not. This isn't heaven. Is heaven above and below? No, that's not even close to a reality either.
But did you notice when someone anywhere in the world starts talking negatively, he wants to tell the truth, they will say he's a negative person, he's a conflict person, he's a I don't know what dark arts that he's
Well,
promoting.
most people do not
But
like me.
no,
They're afraid of
because
me
someone
because
wants someone
the
wants to
truth,
say truth, and it's negative, just
the
like that.
truth hurts. The truth isn't a pleasant, happy thing in this reality. The only truth that's beneficial is knowing that you're going to die. If you become aware, you don't have to come back. Outside of that, knowing you have 10 kids, 10 houses, all those other things, it's not going to matter. When you're on your bed in the hospital or in your bedroom dying, you're going to say, hey, where am I going? What's going to happen to me? Oh, I'm going to miss everybody. Yeah, until you die. But you leave them with the thoughts of you for a pretty long time. Some people can't override death. Well,
The
all right. Skinwalker Ranch is incredible for me. They're showing a lot more than anybody else has ever did. Like I said, if they pull a UFO out, it won't be on TV. I think they're going to stop the show next year when it shows the new season. How much they're going to let them? They're already talking about the black helicopters over them, and they're afraid to lose everything. Uh, but they will, if they know how many people are taken out in the UFO world when it comes to the truth. When the government wants to show you a UFO, they will, but they're not going to let somebody else show it to you first. That would mean that they're not as powerful or as greater as we think they are, and they can't let that happen either. I'm not for the government. I'm not against it. They're doing what they get paid to do. Protect the rich. The Constitution is not for poor and middle class people. All right, I'll say this. One of the people I'm going to have on my show was at the Skinwalker Ranch. All right. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'll ask him questions, and I'll give him information as well. Because most people don't know much about UFOs, really, what they're capable of doing. Oh yeah, they go around in circles. No, that's. Oh, they have to go, Stephen Greer. Well, they go through this and they go from one point to the other point. No, they travel faster than the speed of light, people. Your body can't do it. Their bodies can. Uh, our bodies aren't capable. I can go into a story about that too, but I'm not. Man is a big ego. Every level of men, wherever they are, have an ego. Except, you know what I find? Poor people usually don't have an ego. If they get a piece of bread, they're happy. They're not begging for millions of dollars. They're not begging for lots of things like everybody else is. They're not begging for a new car. They're not begging for any of that. Where you go to a rich person's house, when I work for the phone company, oh, you can't come in the main entrance. You got to go around the back and come in. Afraid to see somebody like me walk in their house. I'll tell you, it was Kennedy's daughter. All right, I can go on about stories that I went through and people and ego. I lived with one billionaire and one millionaire family. I had a millionaire girlfriend. Uh, Money changes everything. I mean, Cyndi Lauper had that right. Girls do change when they have millions of dollars. But people, we're in the real world. We're really here, and we're going to really die. Whether you want to come back or not, that is your choice. People, look, I'm not making stories up. I'm not here to feed your ego. I'm not here to make you rich, and I'm not here to make you happy.
That's the whole point.
All right? So, people, if you ever decide to move forward in your life spiritually, tune into my show, listen. If you made it this far, congratulations. If you're watching this video tomorrow or the next day, if you made it this far, congratulations. Text me, ask me a question, email me. I'll answer it. But I'll give you what's the truth that 99% of the people on here have no clue about. What goes on with demons and entities and ghosts that haunt this place? Oh, we wave a wand and they go into the light. No, it's not like that. Look, I'm ending the show, people. I hope you got something out of it. Send this link to everybody you know if you can or want to. But again, I'm not here to take your money, to make you daydream. I'm giving you the truth for you to move forward. If you want to. I don't twist anybody's arm to watch the show. I'm not making you watch this show. I don't have you handcuffed and tied up with your eyes taped open there where you have to watch the show. You're watching it because you want to. Hopefully, at that point, when you don't like it anymore, you shut it off. It's that simple. But till next time, people, I will be doing a show twice next week. One for Tina. She's at a UFO convention. She just broke her ankle and she's hurt and all that. But she said she'll be on with me Tuesday. She's been abducted most of her life. And then I'll do a spiritual show in the middle of the week as well. But people want to move forward at a spiritual level and understand what the word means. So with that, people, enjoy the rest of the day, the rest of the night, wherever you are. You know where I am. You can get in touch with me, Hawksblood1, AOL.com. Or How to See God at AOL.com. Or Truth and God Only at AOL.com. All right? Now, my webpage, which I decided to do all over, is, it's www.adventuresintothestrange.com. I got that title, and I got it as a COM. I didn't go in for a long time. Sergeant 18 made me take all my pictures off of it, and a lot of things happened, so I haven't been in it much. But I decided to take it all down and rebuild it and start a new one. But it'll still have the name adventuresintothestrange.com. All right, people. Till next time. Thanks for coming on, Gregor. We'll talk later. Everybody else out there, hope you get something out of it. Enjoy the day.
Yeah.
Later, people.
Raise my eyes to the wild blue yonder. I can't believe what I see, and it makes me wonder why it's falling down on me. The sky's falling. The sky's falling. The sky's falling.